man, it has been a while. Now, you saw the thumbnail on this, so I'm gonna let my youngling do her intro because I really want to get into this and exactly why you should not be sharing this.
Welcome back to my dad's channel. If you're new here, make sure to click that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to...
All right, sweetheart, I'm sorry I had to cut you off, but this is not for everybody. I specifically made this video for my core audience. Not even gonna make any bones about it. So frankly, if this video gets over 300 views, I'll really kind of be upset because I'll know people didn't listen to the thumbnail. But the fact of the matter is I've had this channel for over 2 years, almost 2 years. Well, if you look at it, it says 2018, but I've really only been active for about a year and some change. The thing is that I have a channel called Chad's Money Minutes, and I talk about money, but I don't really talk about the minutes. I take up minutes of your time, but we're gonna get into some of my core values where money is concerned. I'm gonna be referring to past videos and I'm gonna link them in the comments where I've actually tackled this before. But here's the thing, a lot of people don't realize how much they hate money because people don't particularly understand it fully. And people get nervous about what they don't understand. And people fear what they understand and intentionally they hate what they fear. But we're gonna get into it and I'm gonna give you my 4 values of money that has really set me apart from a lot of people around me and will set you apart from a lot of people around you and show you exactly how people who move money make a lot of it while not putting their own in because they understand how money works. So here's the thing. The very first value that I want to talk about is the extrinsic value of money, meaning what's stated on it. What exactly confines what is worth what to anybody who has no idea about our economic system. And obviously, it's going to be number values. So now you're going to see that the extrinsic value, what's printed on money, lets people know what's going on. So you have a $100 bill here, and everybody's after this, and a penny here. These are the extreme opposite ends of the spectrum of cash that is available on the open market. This is the highest bill you can get. This is the lowest denomination you can get. Now, if you hear one of these skittering across a train platform or in the mall or whatever, you may look, you may pick it up, oh, hey, a penny or whatever. But I guarantee we all know somebody out there who might actually push their mom down a flight of steps to grab one of these, even though they're actually relatively easy to get as long as you leverage something in order to get them. So that is your extrinsic value of money. You know what it's worth without knowing what exactly it's for. That too applies to when you go to Europe. You know that the higher denomination of euros, the more stuff you can get. That is the extrinsic value. That is the easiest value of money. It's the one that most people gravitate towards because it's the easiest to understand. So now the second value I want to get into is a value that I call the exchange value of money. Now, it is tied to what will you exchange money for? So now it sounds like a fairly simple concept. So then you would want to know, what would my example be? And my example would be, what do you do for work? The fact of the matter is when you have employments, right? You are either paid for labor or competence. So what does that mean? Labor. If you sweep floors, and don't get me wrong, this is not a dig against anybody who sweeps floors. My mom swept floors and she did very well for herself. She was able to raise 3 kids and made us all productive members of society. But the fact of the matter is that you are either paid for labor or you're paid for competence. On the other end of the spectrum for competence, master electricians, master plumbers, attorneys, physician assistants. These are people who have, A, completed rigorous course studies, in addition to that, have had verifiable field experience in non-linear issues that need to be fixed. Court cases are not all the same. Assisting physicians, every illness is not all the same. Every electrical issue is not all the same. So you have from one end of the spectrum being paid for labor and the other end of the spectrum being paid for competence. That's why most young people tend to be in this soup and more experienced people tend to be here. And obviously when you're paid for labor, labor is just work. Anyone can do work. Competence varies so it can command a higher and more variable salary. So that is the exchange rate of money. An example of the exchange rate of money. What will you exchange it for? So when you're working as a laborer or someone who's being paid for labor as you're making your way towards the competency spectrum, it's all about how much are you willing to charge for your time. When it breaks down, you are devoting X amount of time for X amount of labor. So now that is one example of the exchange rate. Another example is garage sales. You have people who actually run through garage sales looking for finds in a garage sale because for the most part, when people do garage sales, they let stuff go for literally pennies or even fractions of pennies on the dollar, because for them, the value is in moving less stuff as opposed to making a profit on items that they are taking a sincere loss on. So now let's flip that on its head and let's talk about the people who are buying this stuff. So yeah, you get a whole dress for a quarter. That's wonderful. But how much money did you spend on gas to get to the garage sale? How long did it take you to look through the periodicals to find out where the garage sale was? How much did you really pay for that dress? How much money did you exchange in order to be there to get said dress or said item? So these are things that you have to understand. This is a bit more of a beneath the surface concept, so a lot of people don't look at money like that. So my third example, and I've also referenced it in a video that I've done about spending habits of people, and another video that I've done about how you can stop your spending habits, I'll link both of those, is that think of things in the order of, let's take a $240 pair of tennis shoes, but you only make $8 an hour. You have to understand that 30 hours of your work week, tax not included, is going to buy this pair of shoes. And then you can kind of see if it's worth it. What kind of exchange are you getting for your time, which you have leveraged in order to get paid? So that's something to think about here. In addition to that, Spencer Johnson and Mark Plymell started a podcast, which I'm featuring here. And honestly, they get into some of the broader concepts of finance. And I too have had some of those videos. And I'm not gonna lie to you, in the credit card space, they don't do particularly well, even though they are intimately related to everything that we do with points and miles, because points and miles is simply another form of currency that are actually subject to a lot of these values that I'm listing here. So we've ran through two of the values, and let's run through the last two so that way I don't babble on and take up the rest of your day. So the third value is one of the most important values of money that really escapes people, and it's the intrinsic value of money. The same thing can be applied to the intrinsic value of your points, your miles, for redemption's sake. So think about it this way. When you give money up, you are redeeming notes for goods and services. So now let's pull up an example. Here I have $1 and a bottle of water. Now, if I am thirsty and there's none of this, how many of these can I drink in order to not die? See where I'm going with this? But in the grand scheme of things, in the abundance of water, don't I need more of these to produce more water? So now intrinsically, I might look at this as not $1, but this is a bottle of water, which could potentially be life-saving. So now in addition to that, I could look at it as a pack of gum, as a phone call, as all sorts of things. So when you think about it, the intrinsic value of money is the hidden value. What can you get for it? What use can you put money to that may otherwise not be available to you because people have confidence in these? Now, we have a dollar bill here and a $100 bill here. And then also we had our penny from earlier. The intrinsic value of said money means that right now, extrinsically, this is worth $100. But as time moves on, by from January 1st to January 31st, this $100 can only buy 97 of these dollars worth of stuff, historically speaking, where inflation is concerned. And we're going to get into that in the next value of money. But the intrinsic value of money, once again, states, what is it that I can get that may or may not actually exceed the extrinsic value of said money that I've spent? In the example with the water, I could quench my thirst, which can actually keep me alive for a couple of more days if there is a shortage on water. So now how much would you pay to stay alive? $1, $100, $1,000? Now I'm sure you probably see what I'm going through with this. Now also, In the podcast video, Mark Plymell actually showed a tour through his house where he actually put money in to do renovations. That is a perfect example of using the intrinsic value of money. If I spend $2,000 to put down new floors and it raises the property value of my home $6,000 because I am the only person with my model of home that has brand new floors, no creaks, no marks, no scratches, right there, literally, I have spent X for Y value, the hidden intrinsic value of the initial investment that I've made. So I'm hoping that you understand where it comes from with this. And the reason that I've ordered these the way they are is I've ordered them from the easiest to understand to the most difficult to understand. And intrinsic value of money is tied into our next value, and this is how they get you. And this is why people don't understand credit. This is why people don't understand money in general. So we'll hop right to the last value of money. Now, the last value of money I want to outline is time. Money has a time value. All currency has a time value. So you hear terms like depreciation, you hear terms like amortization, inflation. All of these are based in time. Now, the time value of money is the one that people understand the least because let's just face it, it's not sexy. People like instant gratification. I transact money now, I get a thing now. I invest money now, I get a return now. But the scions of wealth understand, the Warren Buffetts, the Charlie Mungers, the Manesh Prabhais, the Peter Lynches, they understand the time value of money, the year over year increasing large chunks of cash to offset inflation, depreciation, and other time effects that will further devalue your money, like market confidence. So like right now, if I ask most of you who may be even homeowners to find me an amortization table of your mortgage, I'm sure you're probably looking at the video, even if you even stuck around long enough to say, huh? But the fact is, all of these things, anyone who loans a lot of money, anyone who deals in large parts of money, the most important part to them is not intrinsic value, extrinsic value, or even the exchange value. It's the time value of money. That is for the advent of interest. Interest is basically a fee that you pay that a bank or an issuer is going to assign to a loan to allow you to pay over time, because what they're thinking about is not even, I mean, your default risk is taken into advantage. It is taken into account, but your default risk pales in comparison to the fact that if I give you $100 in 30 years, if it takes you to pay back that $100, I'll never get the kind of value that I got 30 years prior. So the time value of money is extremely important. So in my reaction video that I did to Spencer Johnson's redemption, that is what I kind of touched on. He did a redemption for about 250,000 points for a MacBook. That's great. I don't care if it was at 125 cents per point. I don't care if it was at 1 cent per point. The utility, over time, he has that asset and he's gonna depreciate the cost of that asset. And frankly, it's like a redemption every single year. Diminished as it is, he still gets utility in order to build the points back, which actually buffers that. So in that, he has taken advantage of the time value of his points. Now, our points and miles, they're not immune to this. United just did a major devaluation because over time, if too many people redeem, then people are going to want to redeem points, which are intangible, instead of paying cash for fares. So now, obviously, because most airlines are quasi-banks, but that's a video for a whole other day, they want your cash. Even though they operate the secondary market, which is points and miles, they still want your cash because cash pays the bills. This is the longest section because this is the most important section. The time value of money is increasingly ignored in both the credit card community and the finance community as a whole. So I've done videos about the time value of money. How to get dividends every week for the rest of your life. I've done other ones comparing the time value, showcasing the time value as the main idea of what you need to commit to make the most money. And comparatively speaking, they have been my lowest performing videos at all time, even though they're the most important part of money. And the reason being is because time is something that you cannot control. Extrinsic value, simply print another number on the note. Exchange value, go find another job or manage your time better. Intrinsic value, buy better stuff. But time, you can't change time, you can't control time, thereby making it the most important value of money, thereby making sure that as long as people don't understand it, people who can leverage the time value of money will remain the people who have the absolute most amount of money. So in keeping with my examples that I like to give, we were actually talking in the comments section of said broadcast in a live chat, and we're talking about people who do 0% financing. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have done 0% financing. I will outline it again. I have made 11,512 mistakes as far as credit and money are concerned. That's why I am here showcasing my mistakes so that you don't make them as well. But 0% financing, okay. We used a bed as an example in the podcast. Let's use a television. Let's keep it real. TVs are just, well, they're TVs. Most people consume a lot of content on their laptops and cell phones anyway. So TVs aren't exactly as valuable as they used to be. That's why they're cramming all this stuff in and making it standard. But if you do a 0% financing for 36 months on a television, by the time you get to that 36 months, you are paying a 3-year-old price in today's dollars, which aren't as valuable as they were before, because they understand that by putting that big zero and the percent sign there, it has now triggered something in your brain to say, I have time, so I can afford it. But that time is not working in your favor because you are paying depreciated dollars for a set price. They understand this. So either way, they still make money even when they charge you 0%. Now that might be a more deeper concept than most understand, but by all means, please look this stuff up and verify it. This is for my core audience once again. I wanted to give you my 4 values of money. These are the things that I employ to make sure that I make the best money decisions possible, and I hope you do the same. This also extends to credit cards. It extends to points redemptions. That is why I did the masterclass on points redemptions, because understand that you have the power in a secondary market to determine the value of the currency. So please don't follow me. Don't follow anybody else who tells you that you should get this much cents per point. No, get what has the most utility for you, because with the utility of making sure you determine your own value as far as points and miles go, you can actually determine the value you get, which is something that is going to greatly affect you as opposed to everyone else on the open market. So that has been the video. By all means, please check out the videos that I've linked here. I've linked quite a few. They will be in the description. And also check out that live podcast. I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't really done one of these talking head videos in quite some time. I've mainly been doing live stuff. So I hope you enjoy that, even though I never announce it. But that is about it. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm going to go ahead and get this edited and get this out to you. But also do me a favor and check out these videos as well. I've linked them so that way you can see exactly what I'm talking about as far as the time component of money. And that is about it. Thank you so much. If you stuck all the way to the end, do me a favor, drop me a money sign or a clock emoji. I don't know if they have those, but drop one of those down in the comments and I will catch you later.